"I'm making my move as soon as the drones are inside that thing," Vert said with determination, his eyes focusing at the ball of electricity with uncontrollable veins punishing anything that was distracted. "The lightning should distract them," Vert concluded, gripping his steering wheel, ready for what was up ahead. "Just make sure you stay focused. Keep your eyes on your line," Kurt said cautiously. His Grand Prix experience had made sure to remember to avoid distractions. It had caused them to lose on his debut. "I can handle it," Vert retorted. He was the winner of the world race, beating all other, more experienced drivers. If there was anyone who could stay focused on the track, it would be Vert. Vert looked at his rearview mirror as a dark, green beam of light quickly approached the two of them. "Don't let him get past," Kurt said. Suddenly, the Diora 2 and Slingshot got rammed from behind by the black car. The black car was built like a mini tank. Not even a scratch could damage the black car. The drone car. Vert looked at the driver again. It was a drone, staring into an emotional abyss of nothingness. It didn't care about anyone else. All it cared about was winning. The drone put a glowing card into a section of his alien dashboard. Suddenly, the drone's car compressed into a two-dimensional object, getting past Vert and Kurt. "What was that?" Vert shouted in surprise. There was nothing that they could do. The drone was unbeatable. "They're going in!" Kurt screamed. He accelerated into a higher gear, and Vert did the same. The drone passed its other similar-looking cars and led the charge into the ball of electricity, with the Diora 2 and Slingshot following. They were too far behind, even for professional drivers like them. There was only one way to win. "Use the nitrox," Vert said, slamming a button on his dashboard. Blue flames erupted in a trail behind their Diora 2, caused from the friction by the pure speed of the wheels. Kurt did the same, and the familiar sensation of pure speed kicked into their veins. The nitrox was their adrenaline, and was the purest form of driving. An uncontrollable pace, an uncontrollable drive to win. The cars dangerously crossed at an intersection with Kurt and Vert at an equal pace to the drones. The cars exited the ball of electricity with Vert in the lead. Without warning, a lightning bolt flashed in front of Vert's eyes, illuminating his car and diluting his pupils. "Whoa!" Vert said as he swerved to avoid, in desperation, coming to a stop. He managed to stop another drone car with one of its teammates crashing into it. There was no chance of winning for Vert, unless Kurt could pull something off. Kurt looked at what was up ahead. Two cars stuck in the middle of the track. At such high speeds, any normal driver would crash. But this was Kurt Wilde, and nobody beats Kurt Wilde. Kurt remembered his Grand Prix experience. He could easily overtake drivers, and this was no different. The drivers he was overtaking this time were just still cars. Kurt turned the steering wheel while braking, drifting to the side of the stalled Diora 2 and immediately gaining full speed after executing. Kurt was tailing the drone from before. There was only one way to win, and Kurt knew it. He had to think fast. He switched into a higher gear and floored the accelerator, getting next to the drone. The drone looked at Kurt and swerved to hit him, but Kurt immediately stepped on the brake. The drone drove off the track, with lightning striking it, creating a green explosion, disintegrating the drone. "Nice try," Kurt Wilde said, looking at the explosion. Kurt Wilde started his car again and drove through the portal. The Slingshot entered the Accelerdrome from the holographic version of the Wheel of Power. Kurt drifted to a stop with a sigh of relief. He stopped his car when suddenly a glowing purple card with a lightning symbol on it appeared, levitating in his car. Kurt Wilde grabbed at it. "Nobody beats Kurt Wilde," he said. Gig approached Kurt, with Kurt looking at Gig suspiciously. "Dr. Tesla will want to study that," Gig said in his soothing robotic voice. "Is that what the doctor wants?" Kurt said, scoffing. Soon after, all the human drivers made it through, except Vert. The Diora 2 was still stuck in the realm. "I'm going back for Kadeem," Vert said. Kadeem was a good driver, but he needed help. There could be more drones, and who knows what could happen. "Vert, you can't go after Kadeem." Lani pleaded. She was anxious, and she was leaning against the railing, clutching the table. She looked at the timer beside her, ticking down with only 2 minutes left. "Oh yeah? Watch me," Vert retorted with determination. He had done this before in the world race, with Taro to save Lani. He could do it again. "Vert, the portal only stays open for an hour," Lani said. Her chest was closing in as the familiar feeling of anxiousness choked her. This had happened before with Dresden, Wood, and Castillo, and now potentially Vert. She could not let it happen again, and yet it was out of her control. "You only have a minute left. You have to come through now," Lani finally said, taking a deep breath as she did so. "Why didn't you tell us this before?" Vert said. "Dr. Tesla thought it might distract you from your driving," Gig chimed in as Kurt handed the AcceleRacers to him. "What distraction?" Kurt asked skeptically. Kurt was always skeptical of Dr. Tesla, especially after the events of World Race. Tesla, in Kurt's eyes, was a manipulator to get what he wanted. "The realms have a time limit of 1 hour, Gig answered. "Typical Tesla," Kurt scoffed, shaking his head. Vert hit the brakes of the Diora 2, coming to a stop. He took a deep breath and smashed his steering wheel. "I'm coming out," he said resentfully. The Diora 2 raced down the track again with Vert stepping on the accelerator. He was skeptical. Was there really a time limit? Wasn't this just a world race all over again? "Come on, Vert," Lani whispered. Her heart was pounding, about to erupt inside of her. The Diora 2 gained speed, ready to exit the track, with a crashed drone latching onto his car. The Diora 2 came out as the blue eminence disappeared, slicing the Diora 2 in half. "I believe that's called cutting it close," Gig said. Vert relaxed, sighing in relief. A drone suddenly smashed through the window, grabbing Vert's neck. Vert screamed in desperation, hitting one of the buttons on his dashboard in reflex. The Diora's 2 compartment flipped open with the drone landing and smashing onto the ground. Sparks flew out of its spine. Suddenly, it looked up at Vert again, with death in its lifeless green eyes. Vert's own eyes were full of fear, and he immediately ran away with the drone chasing him. The drone suddenly looked as Karma's chicane smashed into the sidewall. Karma looked through the drone's eyes as she did so, the drone trying to desperately weasel its way out to survive. Karma kept staring into the drone's eyes as she finally and reluctantly powered down her car. "We have to get back in there and find Kadim," Vert said desperately. "You can't even find half your car," Wild said, scoffing at Vert. "The Storm Realm can't be reopened. The Wheel of Power decides which racing realm to open and when," Gig chimed in again. "1 realm's enough for me," Monkey said, easily scared and scarred by the drones. "Typical Metal Maniac," Kurt said. "Scrap the Teku. Metal Maniacs do whatever we want." "Except win," Kurt chimed in. "Nobody scares me away from a race," Wild said, walking up to his older brother. "You want to go back in there? Look at what those drone dudes did to us," Monkey cried. "Look at what they did to me," Tesla said, appearing in front of everyone. He was in a grey exoskeleton. He had been morbidly injured trying to retrieve the Wheel of Power again. "We have work to do," Tesla said, walking away, grabbing the AcceleRacers from Gig. "The AcceleRacers seems to protect your car from any electrical interference," Tesla said, looking away from everyone in the meeting room. The drivers looked in surprise, amazed at what the AcceleRacers could do and give for their cars. "I'm also ready to equip every car with an EDR device, Emergency Driver Return. The EDR allows the driver to escape from a realm in an emergency situation without their car," he said. "Why didn't you implement this before?" Kurt asked suspiciously. "This would have been helpful. Kadim could have been saved." "It wasn't ready then. It is now," Tesla said firmly. "Yeah, right," Kurt said. Static filled the drone's screen as he woke up in a dark room, glaring with dark green. The drone was reprogramming itself, coming alive into another mechanical body. Suddenly a thin figure walked in front of the drone. A slim figure wearing a black dress with white hair. Her presence was felt. It was dominance. It was one of envy, revenge, and a dark determination to do anything she had to win. She was Galorum. Your memories have been downloaded into a new unit. If you fail again, I'll erase them, Galorum threatened. I will not fail, the drone said, saluting Galorum. We cannot allow the humans to keep getting AcceleRacers. We need a new way to defeat them. Something they haven't seen. Something no one has ever seen, Galorum said, grinning with evil filling her lips. The holoback landed in the AcceleRacers, coming to a stop in front of the wheel of power. Who is that? Tesla asked. That must be my ride, Monkey said with relief. You have no right to reveal the location of the AcceleRacers, Tesla shouted. Why? Who are you afraid of? Kurt asked. The drones, Tesla responded, backed into her corner. Hey, let's get out of here, Talk, Monkey said cheerfully, walking to the holoback. After what you said the drones did to you and Taro? No way, Talk said fiercely, getting out of his car. That's the idea of leaving, Talk, so they don't do it again. Monkey was being backed into a corner as well. There was no escape. No one does this to my guys. We're welded, Talk said. Let's just get out of here, man, Monkey said desperately. A horn sounded in the distance. Wait, no. There's no way. He said it would be gone for ages, Monkey said. The man had two knuckle dusters on his hands, one with the word pork and the other with the word chop. The truck slammed into a metal door, entering the AcceleRacers. Old Smokey came to a stop with 3 cars behind. Porkchop got out of the truck as Monkey walked to him. You really didn't have to come, Porkchop, Monkey said. Alright, who did this to you? Porkchop asked, lifting Monkey up, grabbing his neck. Help! Monkey said desperately. Put Monkey down, Talk said. Hey, let's get even, Taro said, limping with an exoskeleton on his leg. The alarm sounded and the realm was about to open. The cars were ready, and so were the drivers. Even Taro, injured with a broken leg, was going in despite the pleas from Lani. Karma's chicane was smashed, of course, by another car. A metal maniac's car. Maniacs, she said. Vert drove his car, power rage, determined to do better than before. He entered the realm suddenly to find vines everywhere. It was a swamp. An overgrown swamp, left untouched with moss and mold covering the track. The trees were massive, which was also an indicator of larger flora and fauna. Somewhere along the track there was another dark presence, an unstoppable force, the drones. But there was something else, something ancient, something magical, maybe even alive. The track was alive, and yet it was dormant, almost ready to be awakened, almost like it was hibernating. Which track are we supposed to take? Talk asked. They may all lead to the end, Tesla answered. Last time they led to nowhere, Gig chimed in. Lani stared at Gig angrily, furious. They had lost Castillo before in the swamp realm, not that the other drivers knew of course. They will have to split up, Tesla whispered. If they do, then they won't be able to help each other, Lani replied in desperation. Tesla shook his head. The AcceleRacer was useless in this realm, and they could take the risk now that they had added the EDRs. It's the only way. Tell them, Lani, Tesla said. He was willing to risk the drivers to win more AcceleRacers, almost like Galorum. No, you, Lani turned away, crossing her arms. She wasn't willing to put her drivers at risk, much less tell them to put themselves in more danger. We think you should split up, Tesla said. Let's move some metal maniacs, Talk said. See you on the other side, Kurt said to Vert. The drivers drove the track, with the environment throwing many elements at them. These included apes, giant mosquitoes, and Venus flytraps. Vert was nearing the end of the track when suddenly something awakened. Something feral. Its eyes opened, screeching from its hibernation. The vines shot out from its face, grabbing Vert's car and entangling it. Monkey and Porkchop boosted away from the vines, but they got caught. Hit the groove, Wild. It's stickier. It's got better traction, Monkey said. A vine shot out at Spinebuster and captured it, along with the hollowback. Kurt was the only hope. He drove on the track, not knowing that he needed to follow the groove. A vine shot out and captured Slingshot. "Whoa!" Kurt said. There was no hope, and it was hopeless. All the drivers were captured and they looked on at the drones being crushed by the elements of the swamp realm. No one was winning. "Kurt, use the EDR," Tesla suggested. Kurt flipped a switch as the rest of the drivers, one by one, used their own EDRs. "The sweepers are ready," a drone said to Galorum. "Good, we will send them into the next realm," Galorum said, grinning. So that was my version of what would happen if Kurt won the Storm Realm. Now first of all, I'll just explain everything short and why I did everything. So the reason why I think Kurt could have won is because he could have easily dodged the crashed cars, especially cause he's basically a Grand Prix driver, so he could easily drift, and he loves drifting, so he could just drift past. Therefore, Drone beats the Drone Captain because plot armor and wins the race. Vert still goes to save Kadeem and the events play out as usual, but because Kurt won the race and didn't get injured, he doesn't call for the rest of the Teku to come. The events for the Metal Maniacs still play through as usual, but Kurt gets more skeptical of Tesla because he takes the AcceleRacers to study it, and even more so when he implements the EDR before the Swamp Realm. Now the Swamp Realm plays out relatively the same, but because there is no Nolo remembering about Tone, all of our drivers get captured. But because Vert won and Tesla implemented the EDRs, they escape, but the Swamp Realm is left uncompleted. Furthermore, Galorum develops the sweepers way earlier because Kurt won an AcceleRacers. So, that's just my thoughts. Thanks for watching.